Hello and welcome to the Next in Line podcast, where we are helping to prepare you for whatever is next in line. As always, I am your host, Chance Pitts, and I'd like to thank you for tuning into this episode. Guys and gals, welcome into another episode of the Next in Line podcast. I'm extremely excited to have you in here with us today to talk about another important topic in the personal development sector. But before we get too far into it, let's go ahead and take care of that housekeeping. If you receive value from this episode or any other episode of the Next in Line podcast, we would ask that you share the show with like-minded individuals who might be able to receive that same kind of value. That's the number one way for us to grow and to reach a larger audience. And guys, when we reach more people, we're able to help more people. That's our overall goal here. And along with that, guys, another way you can help us do that is by interacting with us on whatever platform you find yourself listening on, whether that's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube. You can subscribe, you can like, comment, leave a rating or review, whatever your platform lets you do. And that's just going to help us pop up in the search bar earlier when people look for personal development or self-help type podcast. So again, guys, that's just going to help us reach a larger audience and in effect help more people. Now, you can also keep up with everything we have going on social media. That's more of a daily posting schedule as well. And that's at Next in Line Development on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Now, guys, one of the things we're going to be talking about heavily in this week is the upcoming Spartan race that we have going on. We are taking on a Spartan Ultra, which is a 31-mile, 60-obstacle course race. Now, that's going to be a very, very tough race. We decided to join Lane Divin up there. There's a couple more individuals that are going to be up there running it that we know. So very, very excited to get to go do that this coming weekend. It actually snuck up on me a little bit sooner than I thought it was going to. We are less than a week out now, and that's a pretty big undertaking for where I'm at in my training schedule. So super excited about that. We're going to have plenty of content coming out of that, but y'all guys just stick around. Make sure you follow us on social media, like I said, and we'll have all of that for you as well. Now, guys, we're still working on getting all of our interviews caught up. I know those are some popular episodes, and we love to get those out to you because we love having good conversations with people who have actively worked to change their life. So I have a few of those in the pipe lined up. I just haven't been able to make the calendars match up just yet and the schedules align like I need them to. So bear with me. I promise they're coming in the next few weeks, whether I have to drive somewhere and interview somebody or whether I actually get somebody here in the podcast studio. So with that, guys, the last thing I want to do is I want to apologize to those who have been keeping up with us on social media to this point. The last week and a half or so, I've kind of had a little bit of a tough go of things. I've had some issues and some things on my mind that I've been dealing with, and it's caused me to slack off on my posting schedule. I've got a pretty regular schedule I try to stick to. I try to keep y'all in the loop with everything we're doing, give y'all some content to help you get through the week, to give another push, whether it's fitness, whether it's diet, whether it's just overall motivation. And I haven't been able to do that here recently, so I apologize, and I'm really looking to get back on that schedule. And now that ties really well into the topic that we're going to have today, which was actually inspired by me being on social media. I ran across a guy on TikTok that I've known for a while. I've heard a couple interviews of him. His name's Eric Thomas. Some people know him as E.T. or the hip hop preacher. And he's just this incredible story of success, American success, if you will. He started out as this homeless guy, and now he's got his PhD. He's a speaker who's sought after on this just global level. He's extremely popular. He's got millions of followers on every platform. He's just one of those guys that is extremely passionate, and he grabs your attention. And like I said, I was scrolling through TikTok, and he absolutely grabbed a hold of my attention the other day when I heard him speaking. He was just all kinds of fired up, and it got me fired up and moving in the right direction. And as I was listening to him, I heard a quote. I heard him say something that hit me extremely hard. And what he said was, "I don't need a seat at your table. We're building one." Now, that's open to interpretation. People take things 100% differently. That could send you down your own rabbit hole, but that's exactly what it did for me. It got me thinking in a very specific way about a topic that I've been dealing with on the regular for a while now, and it pertains right into that social media issue with me not posting and kind of where my mind was with that. So, you see, I've been so worried about the numbers in life. I've been so worried about the followers I have on Instagram. I've been so worried about the subscribers on YouTube, the followers on Facebook, the people who interact with us. And it's really been a detriment to the podcast and to the movement as a whole, because I moved away from what was really important, which was focusing on helping people. And I moved to a point of using those numbers as a metric to basically account for the worth of this movement. And that's something that's very dangerous, especially whenever you're starting out and you don't have a big following. We've been doing this for less than a year, and there's no reason for me to have that desire, have that expectation there that people should be listening to what we're saying on that large of a scale, large of a level. Sure, we've got some valuable content here, but we haven't put in the time, we haven't put in the effort just yet to basically deserve that kind of following. So what I realized, guys, is that over the past several weeks, I have forgotten that we are actively looking to build our table here. We are working on the table every single day. We aren't just looking for the first empty table or empty seat at a table that we come across. It's not somebody else's table that we're trying to dive into. It's that we are actively trying to work on our table. And because of that, we halted construction on it altogether. And when I say we, obviously I'm talking about myself. I forgot to focus on my table and take care and measure out the parts just right. And if I'm not careful, I'm going to end up with a table that's somewhat there. Maybe it's got one leg shorter than the other, and it ends up just kind of wobbly. And this is because I'm letting myself get caught up, like I said, in just focusing on other people, focusing on their tables, focusing on the numbers that they have, the following that they've generated, instead of working on making sure that my table is stable. And along with that my path through this journey and the whole path for the Next in Line movement as a whole is something that is sustainable. It's got to be sustainable, just like we talk about in every other aspect of personal development, guys. Weight doesn't stay off. You gain it back if you don't do something sustainable. You're going to injure yourself working out and doing fitness if you don't do something sustainable. If you choose to do something risky or pour your money into entrepreneurship or a business that you're starting and you don't do it in a sustainable way, you're going to end up in a very bad place. So guys, that's exactly what I did, but I did it with my energy. I poured my energy into so many different areas, and especially into worrying about those numbers and the metrics and where I was at as this whole movement goes, and I burnt myself out. I spread myself way too thin, and I was trying to be something for everyone and what everyone else wanted me to be besides what I truly needed to focus on and what I needed to do to be successful within my own avenues of interest and avenues of obligation in life. And because I was doing that, I stepped away from posting and trying to help people and trying to encourage people. And I didn't do what I set out to do, which is helping people realize and reach their full potential every single day. And guys, it took me stepping back, hearing that quote, watching that video on TikTok, and realizing that I really needed to refocus on the goal that I have at hand. And guys, as we speak, I'm still in the process of trying to do this. I am pulling myself out of that quote unquote rut that you find yourself in from time to time. And I'm focusing on making myself the best version of myself every single day, and not worrying about what that looks like in the eyes of other people. And for me, guys, it really got me thinking, and it brought to the table a very different kind of question. How many of us experience that same kind of situation somewhere in our lives every single day? Because obviously from that story you just heard, I am the kind of person that does that on the regular. But I would be willing to bet that it's not just me, that you out there listening do the exact same thing. Now, it's probably not with a social media account. It's probably not with a podcast or anything like what I did it in this kind of weird space that I find myself sitting in, but it's probably in something more relatable or more tangible to everyday life. Now, maybe it's engaging in your career and involving yourself in your job to a point that you lose a connection with your family. You become alienated from those that you love. Maybe it's letting yourself get so burnt out with work that we focus way too much on the fun stuff like the family or the hobbies or the things we enjoy doing, and it begins to actually hurt our job or hurt our career. Maybe it's something just as simple as, I don't know, maybe we're too worried about what other people think to do the things that we've always wanted to do or that we know we should do. And some examples of these would be, I don't know, maybe changing your diet, maybe starting to work out. Maybe it's quitting drinking or quitting smoking or drug use or something you know that's got a addiction on you or you're addicted to, and it's a vice that just has a grasp on you. Or maybe it's just, I don't know, guys, selling that expensive vehicle and starting to put away money the way that you need to reach that financial goal that you've got for yourself. It could even be as simple as taking the steps to actively start your own business. But guys, honestly, it could be none of those things as well. It could be something very different. But whatever it is, I guarantee you that if you're listening to this and you're just like me, something popped in your head that you know that for a fact you could change, but you won't because you're so worried about what other people think. Or maybe you're worried about how it'll impact a relationship that you've got in your life. And guys, I've been there. I've been overweight and I couldn't say no to the societal norms and the pressures that surrounded me with eating crappy or going out to places to eat that didn't have healthy options. I was also so buried in my career that I had no other source of validation in my life, no other source of positive feedback in my life besides getting a promotion or hearing that attaboy from my bosses or those surrounding me in my same position. I also overindulged in drinking, guys. I became so dependent on alcohol and social situations that really it was the only way I was going to function normally in a social situation. And there were several times whenever I had to step away from that it was a very hard transition because I had to relearn how to be myself. Now, along with that, guys, it was also the fact that I gave away my sovereignty as a man in a trade that allowed me to have some sort of comfort and achieve some sort of mediocrity in areas of my life that didn't serve me or they just generally didn't matter. But guys, it really doesn't have to be this way. Because today, this episode right here, short and sweet, is nothing more than a call to action. It's an opportunity for you to join me and to join those others, those so many people who have decided to make a realization about their lives, to open their eyes and decide to make a change. And it's an opportunity to stop looking for a seat at someone else's table and to actively start building your own. And guys, the cool thing about this table, the most beautiful thing about this damn table is that it doesn't cost you a single dime to build. There's no monetary investment required, but it does cost something. Besides the usual and stereotypical blood, sweat, and tears, it takes opening your eyes, guys, and seeing the opportunities that you have in your life. It takes a crazy amount of hard work and sacrifice that requires you to dive deeper than just that spur of the moment motivation that you're going to feel whenever you start the journey. It takes discipline that is something that you have to figure out how to sustain within your own life. And guys, lastly and most importantly, it takes not worrying about how many followers you have on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or whatever it is. It takes not worrying about what people hear you say, not worrying about what people's impression is of you, not worrying about what people are watching and taking in and thinking about you whenever you're out there busting your ass. Because change is an action that only you can execute, guys. It's no one else. And with that, guys, it's time to put your head down and go to work. Start today. Build your table and decide to change your life. I can't explain how worthwhile that will be. Guys, thanks for tuning into this episode of the Next in Line podcast. Please to make sure that you're sharing the show with like-minded individuals. Make sure that you're following us on social media, guys, and always be prepared for whatever is next in line.